Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and this video serves as an update to the fastest supercars video where I show the best fully upgraded supercars in terms of lap time. For all the information needed about this series, check that original supercars video, but otherwise let's see where the cars affected by advanced handling flags now fall after the casino DLC changes. And I've got to say it's not really that great. There's not many changes to be honest, and it doesn't really have that much of an effect. For those who don't know, if you don't know, have a clue what I'm talking about with advanced handling flags, there were certain aspects of the handling files for the cars that were added to the game with the Sunderland San Andreas Super Sport Series DLC. Certain cars have these characteristics. One of them is that the engine doesn't rev very well, and one of them is that the suspension of the cars is much more bouncy. With the Casino DLC, they basically what they've done is reduced the effectiveness of that bouncy handling flag. So the cars are no longer as bouncy as what they used to be. But when it comes to the supercars, they because of their suspension, they weren't too badly affected by that bouncy flag in the first place. And when it comes to the other aspect of the handling flags, which gives the engines inconsistent revs and makes them slower going over bumps, those seem to be still there and pretty much unchanged. So these vehicles like the Entity XXR, the Taipan, whilst they are improving their lap times now after the Casino DLC changes, because they're basically a little bit more stable and the bounciness causes, the lack of the bounce that they previously had means that the engines aren't being as badly affected by each run over a curb or something like that. They're still not very quick. It's not suddenly made these cars that previously had issues, they're not suddenly quick cars again. The Tyrant here, for example, I've got the old lap times there in the top left. We saw that the Taipan and the Entity XXR, they improved by 0.1 and 0.45 seconds respectively. The Tyrant here improves by only 1/10 of a second as well. The Tesseract does a little bit better and actually overhauls the Tyrant to improve by about 4/10 of a second, but even so, it's not major changes. We're talking about differences of a few tenths of a second improvements where the lap times are a little bit better and it gives them a few extra positions if there's in close proximity. But the Entity XXR, for example, it only gains one position over where it used to be with the old system. So if you don't know what I'm talking about at all in terms of advanced handling flags, I'll leave all the links that you need in the description for all the videos that I've covered. Even just doing a YouTube search of advanced handling flags GTA will just basically give you all of my videos on the subject so you can get a better understanding. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to the Casino DLC, all they've done is basically reduce the effectiveness of the bouncy handling flag. So cars that were previously bouncy aren't as bouncy anymore, and when it comes to something like the Divest 8 here, as you can see, it gets pretty much exactly the same lap time. When I took it out and retested it, the lap time was almost identical. I was within 0.5 of a second of it. So the reason for that is that the Divest 8 wasn't really affected by that bouncy flag. It was from the Arena War DLC, which means that it didn't have the engine flags as well slowing it down. It only had that bouncy advanced handling flag, and it wasn't that badly affected by it because of the suspension geometry of the car, keeping it pretty glued to the track anyway. And when it comes to the Scramjet, the Scramjet is so influenced by its boost and how much boost you get in terms of its lap time that again, there's very little difference there. Even if it's a slightly better driving experience in a few corners, the difference is negligible in terms of its lap time. Obviously, we'll see some comparisons here, and the Entity XXR was the one that first started all of this. This was the one that the car could have been a lot better if it didn't have these advanced flags. And what you'll see in the comparison is that after the Casino DLC, it's basically a nicer driving experience. It's much more stable over the bumps, more like a normal car in GTA is, whereas in previous, with the bounciness of the Entity XXR previously, it made it more unstable around the track. But like I said, nothing really seems to have been done in terms of the engine advanced handling flag. So you've still got these engine issues where it will rev inconsistently, it will hit on the top rev limit of the gear before it changes up. So there's no real difference with that. And as you've seen here from the lap times, the differences in the lap times from these advanced handling flag cars are pretty minor anyway. Now we may see some bigger differences with some of the other classes when I test those. For example, the sports cars and especially the muscle cars, which were more badly affected by the bounciness because their suspension allowed that to happen. but at least when it comes to the supercars, there's not an awful lot of difference. One final thing to point out is that in terms of top speed, these cars are exactly the same as they were. I took them all out and retested them like I would, but they all had exactly the same top speeds as what they previously had, so that is unchanged. If you want to see the top speeds for any of these cars, or any cars in general, you can just check the top speed playlist, and the top speeds that are listed in that video, those videos, are still accurate. So finally, as you can see here, we can see the comparison between the Entity XF and the Entity XXR. The Entity XXR is now in 36th place for the Supercars class. It would have been in 37th place previously before the Casino DLC. Obviously it's just the VACA that is quicker or slower than it in that instance. And it's still much slower than the Entity XF. The original Entity XF from 2013 is much better, even though it's a better way, it's a better drive now, the Entity XXR, because it still has, the advanced handling flags. They haven't been removed. It's just one particular characteristic of them has been reduced in effectiveness. So those cars that are affected by advanced handling flags are still always going to be, in most cases, worse than just normal cars in the game. So it's a bit of, things have changed and the message has gotten out there that we don't really like these advanced handling flags, but the change that's been made, it has improved things, but not to the extent that maybe some of you might have been thinking and hoping for, that some of these cars would suddenly become great again. It's not that much of a difference. So we've got plenty of other cars to retest. Obviously this is 6 vehicles. There were 36 vehicles affected by the advanced handling flag, so there's still another 30 to retest. We'll do the sports class next, and then we'll go on to muscle and all the other kind of stuff. But obviously it does take some time to do all this retesting, so hopefully you can bear with me for that. But that's pretty much it for this one. Hopefully I've gone over everything. Like I said, links in the description for everything that you may need if you totally don't know what I'm talking about with advanced flags, or you just want a refresher of what it all means. So that's pretty much it for this one. Consider supporting on Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want to get testing results early. And remember to read the description for more info, comment with your thoughts, like the video if you enjoyed or found it helpful, and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.